I thought all of the scary Alexa videos had been sorted out by Amazon, but according to a TikToker named the Jackie Cole, they've only just begun. She must want to see if Alexa still does that creepy laugh because she asks it to repeat her own monotone laughter.
Alexa, Simon says ha 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 ha.
Alexa repeats the words back in a small voice that quickly becomes breathy and scary with gasping noises and a strange sentence at the end that kind of sounds like I am at the end. Let me know what you think it says.
Ha 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 ha.
I have never heard a machine sound like this before, and I hope I never will for the rest of my life. If you happen to have an Alexa, I wouldn't recommend trying this out unless you want to hear a similarly scary reply. A group of Bigfoot hunters are searching for clues deep in the woods when they come across something ominous glowing in the clear night sky.
Oh my goodness. See? Oh. 3. And in a different position.
3 orbs appear to form a mysterious triangular pattern off in the distance. Every once in a while, the light on top gets extremely bright and then fades away. They can't figure out what these lights are, and I'm not quite sure either. Tell me if you think this was an alien sighting, or maybe even some sort of experimental aircraft. All I know is that if these bizarre lights really are a regular occurrence around these woods, then maybe the idea of Bigfoot isn't so far-fetched after all. While in search of the ghost of the headless man, YouTube team KBC Cazadores de Fantasmas encounters some unexplained activity. As they're touring the haunted area, they hear strange sounds. Shh. Later, while communicating through the spirit box, they see the gate close on its own.
Porteiro, gente, ó. Porteiro fechou, gente.
Then, down by the water, they spot something unusual on the opposite bank.
Eu escutei, irmão, escutei.
Here it is again. What made an appearance on the riverbank? Was it the same entity that opened the gate? I can't be sure, but I am impressed by what the team has captured here. I think it calls for further investigation. When the paranormal comes after you, do you stick around for more? Published by Han Cardisler. That's what this group did. And they weren't disappointed. As the paranormal crew is searching an abandoned school, they find something frightening inside. They're in one room examining things when a sound is heard from the other end of the room. A moment later, a large beam of wood is shoved off a table to the floor. They cross the room, closer to the action. And as they're talking, another large piece of wood comes flying at one of them from the door. Still, they remain in the room, as though nothing happened.
Oy! Sana mı vurdu lan o?
Are these guys crazy? Or are they unfazed because they're so used to this stuff? Whatever the case, they'd best run. The Phantom is getting more aggressive by the minute. If mysterious creatures with tails make you nervous, then strap in for this video posted to Reddit by Scentless Grape. The video shows horsehair worms leaving their host. Horsehair worms are parasites that usually range from 2 to 3.9 inches long and are often found in bodies of water and other damp areas. Only the larvae are parasitic on beetles, cockroaches, and other insects. In this case, what appears to be a praying mantis watching something that is 100% real and insanely disturbing is enough to make anyone nervous. Can you handle this horror you can't ever unsee? Nah. Neither can I. This video was taken from a live stream in someone's car. Two friends are singing a popular song by Adele together and just goofing off one night while aimlessly driving. I can't play the clip with sound because the song is copyrighted, but pay attention to the baby seat in the back. It starts out obviously empty, as you can see here in the beginning. However, sometime during their singing, something slowly materializes behind them. Let me know if you can see a ghost child at this point. By the time they finally notice, you can already vaguely see the baby's mouth and other facial features. They are absolutely stunned and quickly turn off the stream without saying another word. I have no possible explanation for this video, besides maybe the shadows playing tricks on them. Still, that's a strange coincidence that begs for a further investigation. A landlord named Jill Prevost is in the basement of a rental property when she sees a furious house cat guarding the top of the steps. The angry, hissing animal descends upon her within seconds. Watch this part and you'll see the cat attack her purse with all of its might. Jill simply holds it in front of her for protection. Otherwise, the rampaging animal could have easily been climbing up her leg. There is nowhere to run except past the cat up the stairs. Once upstairs, she immediately grabs a broom and remains stuck in the house until the owner comes back.
Get away. This cat just attacked me.
This video is definitely bizarre until you realize cats instinctively go for areas that cause the most damage, like the face or throat. Though it may be a domestic house cat, it is nonetheless protecting its territory with everything it's got, so who knows what would have happened if the owner had not come to Jill's rescue in time. A family was reportedly taken from this scary abandoned house, and these ghost hunters are here to investigate. Published by Dark Arts TV in August of 2021, they first come across a photograph of creepy porcelain dolls. They then open the door to a room before heading outside. While outside, they hear an unexplained sound.
So I got a big torch out now. Yo, the car's just banged.
Another happens shortly after, scaring the crew.
This video right. Right now. Energy.com for sponsoring this video right.
Back inside, while one of them is waiting for the other near the stairs, the front door opens. Later they hear voices, and it sounds like someone is at the door. When they ask the spirit to show itself, they hear it again.
Can you show yourself?
What's that?
Outside again, they speak to the spirit through the spirit box, and he tells them what he's ready for. They later hear male voices, not through the spirit box, but nearby.
Man's voice, yeah. Two people talking. Yeah, I'm turning this off, mate.
They decide it's time to leave before they get taken too. This video comes from a man named Ted who doesn't reveal his last name. He claims to have been on the force since 1983 and was responding to a call in Delray, which is part of Detroit, but by the time he arrived, the situation had been resolved. On his way to leave, he began hearing strange noises coming from a neighboring house. Upon investigating, he began recording with his cell phone as he was in disbelief of the noises he was hearing. Ted called out to see if anyone was in the badly burnt home and caught someone or something on tape in the window for just a split second.
Hello? Hello?
On the force, you learn to trust your gut, to trust yourself, and I was jeopardizing my safety.
He did not enter the house, but found newspaper clippings in the backyard about the Delray witch, a woman who took 12 men's lives for the insurance money. The officer did some research online and found other reports of strange occurrences happening in Delray. The question that needs to be answered now is, was that person in the window a squatter or the Witch of Delray? This unexplained shadow was uploaded by a paranormal ghost hunter named K. Owen. I think it could just be a fast-moving insect, especially since this was recorded on a summer night in the South, but according to Kay, this is the spirit of a poltergeist in Kentucky who eventually went on to become quite destructive. If Kay's story is to be believed, then this unexplained shadow is the spirit of a person who took a woman's life in this camper years ago. The deranged paranormal entity would eventually go on to destroy the camper by burning it down just 2 weeks into the paranormal investigation. YouTuber Riot was putting his dogs to bed when he noticed his truck's alarm lights were blinking. The dogs also seemed upset by something. That's when he checked his Ring camera, only to find this. A strange blue object is floating across the yard. The YouTuber says he didn't see it with his own eyes. It then disappears behind a tree. Well, I wanted to dismiss this as a spiderweb at the beginning. It's harder to dismiss when it seems to move away and disappear like this. So what do you think? A spider web or something more cryptic? I think it's too close to call. Exploring with Josh is a YouTube channel dedicated to taking a closer look at all sorts of frightening locations. This time they decide to check out an abandoned school that is reportedly the source of black magic rituals. Pentagrams spray painted on the wall give them a general feeling of unease all around as they make their way deeper into the building. They feel watched at times and are worried about coming across someone at any given moment. I notice some sort of strange ephemeral smoke follows them throughout the video. It's visible in 2 different scenes. The first time happens about 5 minutes in.
You see some? Damn, this is spooky. Hopefully we don't run into anything crazy.
Then it happens again here roughly a minute and a half later.
Yo, this one's a little bit scary. If we hear anything, let's just...
The strange smoke is definitely not their breath because it only happens twice instead of throughout the entire video. Coincidentally, the smoke appears as soon as they sense that something is nearby. As if that weren't enough, they have another random paranormal encounter that is much more blatant.
Oh my f***ing god, did you get that on tape? That is insane.
I don't see any block light around the door frame to indicate one of their friends was on the other side. In fact, it doesn't look like the door even has a knob to use. There just doesn't seem to be any plausible reason for this door to open on its own. A man believes the stairwell in his apartment is haunted by a creature that's not paranormal, but not human. He thinks he sees movement and says this is a still image. The image has gone viral, so I wanted to analyze the video. The video does not look nearly as convincing as the image, which is often the case because it is harder to animate than Photoshop. The figure shows a convincing lack of realistic movement as it dips back into the darkened doorway from where it came. So if you've ever seen this popular picture and were wondering what the accompanying video looked like, now you know. Final video is about as close as it gets. First, a piece of manufacturing equipment malfunctions and causes a pileup of white-hot steel material. The pressure around the blockage continues to build until coils of unformatted steel shoot across the factory floor. The first worker sees the carnage and runs in a zigzag pattern to escape. The second worker, a supervisor from the looks of his clean white shirt, has his back turned and doesn't notice anything until it's too late to react. A rope of liquid steel stops short at his feet and piles all around him. He escapes only to have the machinery behind him burst apart and send more rivets of steel his way. The equipment is shut off, and more of the substance falls to the exact spot where he was just standing. Perhaps the film night at the museum wasn't too far off. This statue, located in England's Manchester Museum, appears to come to life. The ancient Egyptian statue dates back to around 1800 BC and perhaps is cursed by an ancient Egyptian spell. According to the museum's curator, Campbell Price, one day he noticed the 10-inch statue had turned entirely around. As reported by Manchester Evening News, Price said, "I thought it was strange because it is in a case and I'm the only one who has a key. When Price moved it back to its original position, he found it had moved again the very next day. He decided the next step was to set up a time-lapse video, but the video raised more questions than it answered, as the statue was caught red-handed rotating counterclockwise on its own by increments that wouldn't appear visible to the human eye. This occurs only during the daytime. The statue is still at night. While an Egyptian spell isn't off the table, one British physicist thinks the movement can be explained by something called differential friction. Brian Cox says this friction is caused by the footsteps of museum goers, whose vibration moves the statue during the day. Price, however, calls this into question, as the statue has been housed at the museum since the early 20th century, and it hasn't moved before. It also appears to be turning in a perfect circle and only up to 180 degrees, so that it's facing backward. Even more interesting, on the rear of the statue is an inscription requesting offerings of bread, oxen, and fowl. Perhaps this is the answer. The statue needs to be fed. In July of 1973, Clara and Phil Dandy moved into this unassuming farmhouse bordering the woods of Hinsdale, New York, thinking that it would be a nice cozy place to raise their children. They would hardly last for more than a year. Their troubles began within days of moving in. Minor annoyances like constant hang-up phone calls and cabinet doors getting left open, and then not so minor things like a soft chanting coming from deep in the woods. Soon apparitions were roaming the 100-year-old house along with faces in the windows. As the weeks dragged into months, they recruited the help of a clergyman named Father Alphonsus to cleanse the house, upon which they claimed to have felt a scream rattle the walls, followed by a period of calm. However, the peace and quiet lasted only a few days before the spirits returned in full force, forcing the devastated Dandy family to move out 13 months later in October of 1974. The house has chewed through a few more families since then. None of them stayed for long, but nobody knows what they saw. The house couldn't sell and fell into a state of disrepair until 2015, when a paranormal investigator named Daniel Clace purchased it for him and his team to conduct their research. Daniel is an author, speaker, and paranormal documentary maker who co-founded the Western New York Paranormal Society in 2012. He has been interested in the paranormal his whole life, and that's why these videos seem legitimate, starting with this one in the downstairs bedroom. These spheres of light could be dust particles, or they could be spirit orbs that appear when the air becomes charged with paranormal energy. One thing that's weird is they are always moving straight up, all of them, and sometimes two at a time. This live camera feed is over 30 minutes long, and not once does an orb move downwards. That's definitely odd. And remember, I said faces are seen in the window. Well, I think this might be one of them, black eyes and all. Daniel uploaded the next video after he led a different team of ghost hunters investigate, a group called the Warriors of the Paranormal. They didn't want to miss anything, so they slept in shifts. One of them, named Bobby Ann, is asleep on the couch when this appears over her. A closer view only presents more questions. I see tiny ears, but the face is blacked out and it has no visible eyes or a mouth. It looks like it could have been fur, but that could also be bare skin. It's not a raccoon or a small dog, but those are the only two things it even remotely resembles. Maybe it could be a hand puppet, but there's no room for a second person to lay beside her, and she is facing the camera with the covers over her, so it can't be her. And it almost definitely can't be a wild animal, because I think even the deepest sleeper would wake with something so close. This is a different view from behind the couch. Bobby Ann turns in her sleep and looks at what's wrong with her arm. This part looks like their arm, but this circled part looks like something entirely different as it raises up then disappears, so maybe it was part of the blanket or something. But this rising dark apparition definitely is not. I don't know about you, but that definitely looked like some shadow person activity, or maybe edited. Either way, I've saved the creepiest part of all for last. Check out this ghostly figure standing over the couch. It looks like a little girl in a dress with her head down watching. I bet you didn't notice, but she was there all along. McJuggernuggets is a famous YouTuber who comes home one day only to find evidence of a serious break-in. Some of his possessions are missing, things that he is sure were in his room earlier before.
Somebody took the hard drive.
Hard drive to what?
All my behind the scenes. Somebody literally came into the house and must have taken this shit. I'm going to check the security camera.
He argues with his father for a bit about the likelihood of someone breaking in, but the security video does not lie.
Hold on, here it comes.
Sure enough, some stranger cases the house by knocking on the door a few times, even going so far as trying the knob. Soon he uses a long tool to pry open a window and reaches inside to quickly scoop up a nearby hard drive before taking off.
Oh my god, dude.
Much to McJuggernuggets' amazement, the window was right next to his bed. He soon comes to the sickening realization that this person, who was perhaps a stalker, literally reached into his room to retrieve a hard drive full of unedited video content. Who knows what this deranged fan will come back for next time. A news reporter hears a train approach and gets an idea for a shot.
Here, let's do it with the train.
The idea is to have her walk into the shot and let the train pass by for dramatic effect. The only problem is she can't look over her shoulder because it'll ruin the shot. She has to guess how close the train is, and her estimations are a little off.
20 minutes after midnight. Oh!
She manages to take 2 steps and is barely off the tracks when the train flies by. This could have ended a lot differently, and there would have been absolutely nothing for the cameraman to do to stop it. A YouTuber named Angelo Black gathers some friends and together they head to a local tunnel that's rumored to get more terrifying and dangerous the farther down you go. They begin their journey with the goal of going deeper than anyone has dared to before. Laughing and joking at first, but soon growing more serious as they huddle close, banding together against a gnawing claustrophobic dread that nobody wants to be the first to acknowledge. Eventually, they find a lonely portion of pipe that is next to no graffiti and bravely keep going. After traveling a great distance, they're now staring down an even narrower passageway that feels wrong enough to make all of them stop. One of them asks who's there, and this wild growl comes from the darkness within.
Come closer.
Who's there?
Before they even have time to react, the camera person thinks a face is looking at them, which I don't see, but I do hear this faint moan shortly afterwards. It's definitely coming from up ahead.
Wait.
The moan soon changes into the same growl again, even louder this time, that I think might actually be a rusty old drain pipe letting loose. Still, I wouldn't take any chances by sticking around, especially not after I heard this. Their phone mysteriously stops recording at this point, and they get out of there fast. But whether it stopped recording because of a low battery or because of paranormal interference has never been verified. What would you do if you ran into a massive python and the paranormal all in one night? Published to YouTube in June of 2020 by Catch 'em All Fishing. That's exactly what happened to this explorer as he trapezed through the ramshackle underground city. In fact, Zach seems to have gone here specifically to look for snakes. The abandoned place is, in and of itself, creepy enough. He keeps shouting hello as he begins his journey, and his echo rings eerily throughout the enormous space. The dark, damp place seems like the perfect breeding ground for snakes. At one point, around 4 minutes and 15 seconds, Zach appears to capture the beam of a flashlight bouncing off a distant wall. He also hears voices. He may not be alone down here. He rushes over to see who else is there, but he says the voices have stopped. Then he hears the haunted voices again. It's more like a moaning, which is made even more terrifying by the echo. Then at 5 minutes and 53 seconds, Zach abruptly turns to a doorway, seeming to sense something there, and it appears that something is there. If you watch in slow-mo, an obscure figure is standing in the darkness of the opposite room. Although he got the heck out of there, Zach's night didn't end there. As he's driving home, he crosses paths with what he'd been looking for all along, a snake. Zach chases down an enormous python. He manages to grab it by the tail while the snake tries to bury its head in the sand. He grips the snake near its head and shows the audience its fangs as the python starts to wrap its thick body around his arm. I think this is exactly why you should never grab a python. Zach tries to release the snake into a bag and does manage to collect him and zip him inside without getting tagged. Between encountering what may have been the paranormal in the underground city and prying this python from his arm, one thing's for sure, this dude has nerves of steel. This small outpost, known only as the Black Mailbox, is one of the many classic mysteries of Area 51. It is actually 2 containers stacked on top of each other as shown here. One day while filming the Black Mailbox site at random, a nondescript white car with heavily tinted windows pulls up and unlocks it. They totally ignore the fact that they are being recorded, which is something all personnel from Area 51 seem to be trained to do. Meanwhile, whoever is recording decides not to approach any closer, most likely because they thought it was a government vehicle on official business. The camera person sticks around for about half a minute longer before presumably getting out of there fast. This one's a lot more boo than Peek, published by Fun with SK in May of 2022 and originally published by YouTuber Simply Sareth. This scary video captured something creepy playing Peekaboo around a corner. Sareth is outside this haunted home, his camera facing the front door, when his night vision footage captures this creepy creature peering around the doorway. What is this figure? It certainly looks human in size, but is it a ghost? Or is it just a living human being so super creepy? I think these are questions we'll never get the answers to. Lainey and Ben's haunted house has turned up the intensity in recent months. Now things are levitating. Watch the lamp to the left. A little later, a cutlery drawer opens and closes in the kitchen. Then the tap turns on. You can hear the water running. It turns off and back on again. Shortly after, a strange, unexplained sound is heard. This is followed by some more strange noise, which sounds to me like a garbage disposal. Although all of the activity frightens me, the levitation in the beginning has me really hooked. It also has plenty of people really scared. Stay tuned for more fear. The last thing you'd want for your Burger King chicken nuggets is a ghost playing with them. But we don't always get what we want. YouTuber Karaoke Batman shares this security footage of a supposed phantom playing around in this Burger King kitchen. Watch behind the worker. Something threw a basket of chicken nuggets from the counter behind him. Watch again closely.
Oh my god.
Since we can't see where the basket of nuggets fell from, I don't know if it simply toppled over or if some mysterious being threw it. I think we'd need further evidence of ghostly activity to draw any sort of conclusion on this one. A very similar sounding shriek to the so-called cougar. This one claims the sound is coming from none other than a monster from traditional Latin America folklore known as La Llorona. According to legend, La Llorona was the unloved mother of her 2 sons. Her husband loved his sons more than her and also had an affair with another woman, causing La Llorona to break. She is said to have taken the lives of her 2 boys in a river in a rage, following them in grief by taking her own alongside their bodies. Now she wanders the earth in search of the souls of her sons. The terrifying wailing of her grief is heard throughout Latin America. Those who hear her cries are said to face misfortune or even have their lives taken. So maybe just to be on the safe side, turn down the volume for this one. Published to YouTube in September of 2018, the horrifying demonic scream at the start of the video definitely doesn't sound human. In fact, it makes you want to urge whoever is filming to get someplace safe, fast. Instead, he films outside on the rain-filled streets at night as La Llorona screeches demonically in an animalistic cry. Shortly after, a more human-like women's weeping is heard. The man approaches the phantom voice in the darkness. It's difficult to make out a figure in all this, but he speaks to her, and she responds, which makes one think this is a real human woman making these sounds, not La Llorona after all.
¿Tienes dulce? ¿Tu esposa?
After a while of the man chatting back and forth with her, and then answering his radio, the woman falls silent. Barry in the comments says, I understand Spanish. She seems to have multiple personalities. Was that inhuman sound made by a human person? Someone with multiple personalities? Perhaps someone possessed? Or is this La Llorona in the flesh? A crumbling cemetery in New Orleans is crawling with restless residents. If this scary sighting is to be believed, at 18 seconds a stone slab lays on the ground as if recently removed. 20 seconds later, this mysterious figure, to use their exact words, is caught on video walking between some tombstones. This could simply be one of their friends, but if not, then seeing a random person while exploring an abandoned cemetery is really bizarre, and also more than a little creepy. They are unable to get the figure on video again, and so they leave. Here's a scary basement we should all probably get out of. Published to YouTube by an everyday Canadian in April of 2016. The Canadian says in the clip he heard a banging in the basement that wasn't the washer or dryer. His kids are asleep upstairs, and he's freaked out about the sounds coming from below. As he heads downstairs to the unfinished basement, you hear immediately what he's talking about. A loud bang in the darkness is heard off to his right. Still, he continues to descend. After turning his light on, he scans the room. The light catches a small toy shopping cart in one corner of the room that's apparently not supposed to be there, judging by the man's reaction. The little cart then starts moving on its own before zooming across the room towards him.
What the was that? What the
This is where the video ends abruptly. We hope that the everyday Canadian made it out alive. YouTuber Donna Aries has a roommate that she cannot see. Let's take a look at this mischievous poltergeist in action.
Just come in, just heard something, so just grabbed my iPad to see if I see anything. And I'm sure I saw the cup move, so I've just grabbed me. There you go, again.
Donna does a good job of reassuring viewers that this is no gimmick.
Under there, that's just a bracket from an old drawer that used to be there. There's nothing in the cupboard, it's just cutlery and stuff. Nothing under there apart from pots and pans. There's no magnets.
Even if the surface was wet, the way it's moving is not how an object would move across a wet surface.
Underneath, there's nothing. It's just an old metal cup. Metal.
And then this happens.
Oh my gosh. The surface isn't wet or anything. It's all dry. So there's no reason for it to be moving. And it's moving again.
The only thing I can think of to debunk this is the nearby stove. If it's an induction stove, then it uses magnetic fields to generate heat. It would follow that a metal cup nearby would be drawn if the field is strong enough, but that's just a theory, and the way the cup moves is too erratic. Do you have any ideas? The last thing you would want to encounter when driving on a deserted stretch of road at night is a ghost. Shot in Delhi, Aman Kumar published this video in August of 2018. As you can see, the driver and his passenger have spotted a figure up ahead in their headlights, so they approach slowly and then stop. The figure ahead is moving across the road at a snail's pace. The driver flashes his brights and low lights on and off several times, but this doesn't affect the figure's pace in the slightest. The figure continues to move slowly across the road, and then another figure. The driver keeps flashing his lights on and off, trying to get the figures to move. They seem to have converged in the middle of the road. It's unclear if the ghostly figures start to approach, but the passenger starts to panic. The driver continues to flash his lights on and off, and at the same time backs up a ways. Even after 3 whole minutes, the figures are still there. That's where the footage ends. We don't know if the path ever cleared for these two, but what we do know is you never know when you might meet the afterlife. Bro, is all a student writes after staying on the bus to capture this paranormal activity. Listen to how hard this window snaps shut, and tell me how this is even possible with no one around. Afterwards, he claims to see 2 faces in the window, something which apparently happens often, and I actually see what he means. These are its eyes, and here its nose. The rest of its face is hidden from view because it's peeking in. Same with the window beside it. Police arrive to find a mother of 2 is seeing things on the roof while holding her 2 children. She doesn't believe a word anyone has to say and thinks everyone is out to get her. Now it's up to them to bring everybody down safely. They climb onto the narrow ledge, and there's barely enough room for a grown man to stand. She is in such an anxious, delusional state that not even a legitimate badge and uniform are enough to convince her. My analysis of this part is that she thinks that he is putting away his badge too quickly, which in her mind means it must be fake.
Where's your badge?
There you go.
Okay, really?
Yeah, real.
No, really, let me see.
Yeah, right here. See? It says police.
Sergeant?
Yeah.
Eventually, she thinks he is real, but then she thinks his partner is an imposter. She reads his name tag out loud and freaks out.
No, who are you? Point blank? Point blank? Body adventure? No, point blank!
I think his name is Blaine Points or something like that, but I can't figure out what the significance is to her. Also, it sounds like she calls him a body avenger, whatever that means. At this point, she is so frantic that she might lose her balance. So the cops have to grab the kids by the arm and get into a terrifying tug of war. The poor kid has an adult pulling on each arm. The situation is probably horrifying for them. Eventually, the police win and round the children up, who sadly probably won't be seeing their mother again until well into their teenage years, if ever. A YouTuber named Nick makes it clear from the beginning that he does not believe in Bloody Mary in the slightest. He turns the lights off, and then 3 times in a row he sarcastically says,
Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. See guys, like I said.
Before he has a chance to finish his sentence, the figure touches him and he falls to the floor. If this was real, exactly how this video was recorded or uploaded remains a mystery, as it looks like Nick might not have pulled through. On January 8th, 2005, a professional diver named David Shaw was on an extraction mission to recover a missing individual named Dion Dreyer. David, having won numerous diving records in his career, many of them going great depths into caves, was confident in his abilities to locate this person. He was also with a team to help ensure his further safety. They run a line down the cave to help themselves move along and keep from straying too far and getting lost. There's very little light down here. The line leads to Dion. At 3 minutes, they pass over this deflated dolphin that was on Dion's vessel as a joke. Now it's on the bottom of the sea cave floor. He is walking along the bottom and soon becomes hopelessly tangled in the line. He pulls and pulls, hoping to find a good place to cut, but his movements become slower as his oxygen runs out.
Okay, there he goes, he's moving on again. Now, he's breathing very hard.
I won't show the end, but sadly he did not make it out of the cave and passed in the darkness next to Dion. Let's never forget his valiant final dive and take a moment to recognize his bravery. It was his 333rd dive. A YouTuber named Trey P is wandering around an empty graveyard somewhere in New Orleans all by himself when he hears this voice out of nowhere. He claims that the voice belongs to a ghost, though to be honest, it might just be his. The only way to tell if this video is real would be to have Trey P say a sentence and then compare his voice with the voice in the video. What is the #1 destination to dispose of an object that's ended a life? In a river, of course. Posted to TikTok by Julian Stevens. This scary video leaves us wondering if that's exactly what happened here. The TikToker spotted a blade at the bottom of the waterway. Zooming in, you can see it's clearly a large kitchen blade. Zooming out again, you can see it's clearly in the middle of a creepy wooded area. Many in the comments suggest calling the cops. That seems like a fair assessment to me. This old VHS tape from 1999 could have captured a ghost, but I need your help to tell if it's true.
If you look to the right of the 2 tombstones, you can clearly see a figure standing there dressed in white.
I definitely see the ghost in question, especially when you zoom in. There's actually a surprising amount of detail, and I can even make out the buttons on their shirt and possibly a long musket. At the same time, I have some other possible explanations as to what this could be. This could be the open space between 2 trees, in which case the vivid details are nothing more than a random arrangement of branches. This could also be a cemetery statue from afar. This was taken way before high definition, so it's hard to tell for certain, but I'd still like to get your thoughts. The Bucket List Boys are an adventurous group of friends who are excited about taking the 24-hour challenge in an old haunted hospital. Most of the video is relatively normal until night falls and the atmosphere suddenly changes from playful to serious.
Justin, I know that was you.
Dude, what are you talking about? Right here. Shit.
Wait.
Shut up.
That wasn't you?
No, that was you. Stop playing.
They quickly grow more and more nervous from mysterious sounds until eventually they just want to leave. They're trying to figure out a way when something that's just way out of place pedals across their path.
Remember which way it is? No. Shh. Did you hear that? What? What the fuck? No.
A small red tricycle rides by and sends the bucket list boys running in the opposite direction at full speed. They're in such a hurry to escape whatever's behind them that one of them almost falls down a dark hole with no visible bottom. They barely make it out in time and never look back. Hopefully this was just a prank and nothing really followed them outside. There's no more haunted a place than a 20th century lockup. Published to YouTube by Heather Hauntings in March of 2020. Heather and her man are staying in a cell where inmates have allegedly passed away. The result? Major paranormal activity as evidenced in these two videos. Last used in 1984, the jailhouse was once the scene of at least one life-taking, and another person locked up took their own life. Of course, with such a twisted history, many believe former inmates now haunt its grounds. Paranormal investigators have heard caustic sounds, footsteps, and voices. Even the historian believes the place is haunted. Bullard told the Jasper News, "Let's just say I went to the front door and left quickly. I heard something. I saw something that moved like a shadow, and I didn't stick around."
Here all night?
It seems enough of a warning for these paranormal investigators to know they're about to experience something truly chilling. In one video, they explore talking to the spirits via the spirit box, meanwhile hearing strange noises throughout the building. At one point, when they black out the room, loads of EVPs can be heard on the spirit box. In the second video, as they're staying overnight in the cell, they attempt to communicate with the spirits again. After asking if another inmate took the life of the spirit, they hear a distinctive yes twice on the EVP.
Yes. That was a very clear yes.
At around 14 minutes 30 seconds into the video, they start to hear the lightest of footsteps. They attempt to catch some shut-eye in the cell, and around 3 a.m., the witching hour, something bangs loudly, awakening them. Around the same time they heard this noise, Greg says he felt something touch his leg. Needless to say, they couldn't go back to sleep in the cell. Could you? I certainly wouldn't. Once you've investigated enough haunted places, you're bound to encounter a shadow figure or two. YouTuber Dennis from Dark Life faces off with one in this haunted house. Did you see it? There's definitely something there, but it's not there for long. After it crosses the room, it vanishes completely. I think this demon won't reveal its full nature. At this point, he is but a shadow. Three friends are driving down some back roads late at night when they've caught something on video that has people questioning what was on the side of the road.
I'll see that.
Oh my god, what is that?
It's a dog, isn't it?
Can you hear that growling?
The creature looks at them as they question whether or not it's been hit and needs their help. While it goes deeper into the forest, they feel like they should get out of the car and check to see if it's all right.
God, I'm really scared. Tom! Where is it? Is it in the bush?
A deep growling sound coming from the woods keeps them from exploring any closer. They are pretty sure this isn't someone's dog, like they thought, but they aren't sure what to do next. That's when the decision is made for them. Run.
Is it? It sounds really close.
Right, get in the car now, Tom.
The comments and likes for this video were split 50-50 between believers and skeptics. I might have thought this was real if I watched it just one time, but upon closer analysis, it's pretty obvious this was somebody in a creature costume on their hands and knees. When you look at their feet at 22 seconds, there are no claws, and you can tell this is a costume that you step into, or at least that's what I think. Tell me what you make of this bizarre encounter caught on a full moon that night. Om is a popular YouTuber from Delhi, India, who for 2 years has been steadily growing his channel Om Vlogs. At first, he would do normal things like go to a museum or an amusement park, but about a year ago, he started to get into ghost hunting. Now, he goes on ghost hunting explorations all the time, and they are really good. Delhi has a population of about 30 million people, so we are talking about a single city with as many people as the whole state of Texas, which means plenty of places to explore and plenty of ghosts to be found. So recently, Om Vlogs went to a building that was so cursed he wouldn't say the name of it or where it was, only that it was a restaurant in his hometown where something horrendous happened that made them close down and never reopen. On May 13th of 2020, they visit it for the first time, or at least try to. They don't get far because a presence guarding the area won't let them go inside. They stay at what they mistake for a safe distance and peer in. There's a light that's orange here at 8 minutes and 9 seconds coming from an otherwise dark room. They don't see anything else and chance a closer look. Om is talking more about the place when a mysterious shadow descends the wall at 12 minutes and 23 seconds. A minute later, they learn beyond a doubt that something is inside.
आवाज देखिए आवाज नहीं देखी ये देख उधर के ईंट निकल गई है.
His friend is standing next to him, so it's not him. They dare not enter, but they stick around for a bit longer. At 15 minutes and 22 seconds, a single pixel goes white while recording a room on the second floor. When they zoom out, the light mysteriously goes away, but not before more black shapes pass over it. By now, it's getting late, so Om is wrapping up the video when he senses something watching him and points out a shadow figure that only he can see in person. It doesn't show up on camera, at least not that I can see, but you should remember this area for later because things are about to ramp up. Apparently whatever is in there is not happy to see them again when they return a few weeks later. This time a white-robed figure with a demonic head and 2 horns leans on the brick wall as if taunting them to try and go in, which they don't notice and proceed to do. They shine their light into a blown-out window and eyes waverly reflect at 7 minutes and 5 seconds. The restaurant is obviously no longer taking reservations. They stand and brace themselves for whatever comes next, and when nothing happens, they decide to explore a few rooms before returning to the main area. As they think about whether to leave or not, a terrible feeling washes over them, and their camera goes out of focus like something is near, and it is. Om puts his hand up to shield the group from something they can't see, but we can. At 10 minutes and 58 seconds, it's coincidental standing in the exact same place where Om thought he saw something the first time. The building becomes more displeased with each passing moment.
तो कुछ आप क्या कुछ ऐसा करके दिखा सकते हो?
But when they go into the room to leave, its guardian is absolutely gone. I guess it knew they were leaving and letting them pass without harm. And I think I heard a fire alarm at 11 minutes and 18 seconds, even though the place clearly doesn't have one. I suspect it once burnt down. And what you heard was paranormal residual energy from the event. Om never does reveal the location, but there is a comment left by someone who thought they recognized the location, and I thought this was interesting. If someone could please confirm that this location is on the Cardinal Bypass Road in Delhi, that would be helpful, and tell us anything else you know about its haunted history. Castles and forts often have long and frightening histories. This one is no exception. Published by Vault of Fear in April of 2012, a family was visiting this old fort when they captured something spooky on camera. The video shows a full torso shadow figure appearing to climb the stairs into the fort. A split second later, two crows flee from the windows. We can assume disturbed by the apparition. Apparently, this site has experienced paranormal activity for some 4,000 years. Judging by this video, that activity isn't going to end anytime soon. This woman found her toy doll in a disturbing state, so she contacted YouTuber Luan Mendes to help her.
Simone! Tá ali já, mano. Próxima, tudo bom? Bom, prazer, Luan. Pode entrar? Pode entrar. Oi? Tem alguém aí? Tem meu marido e minha filha que tá dormindo. Seu marido é o Leandro.
Shared by YouTube channel blah blah, this video is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community.
Mas tá estranho, mano.
E olha isso aqui. Tá costurado, parece. A mão tá costurada atrás. Nossa. E tá com uma fralda de criança. Com uma fralda de criança.
É.
Você comprou desse jeito já? Como que é?
Não, a gente tava passando.
After these guys come to take a look, they find the cellar. They hear something banging on the lid.
É você, boneca?
Ai! Nossa, pega, mano!
Tô falando pra você, cara. Você viu? Eu vou entrar.
É a boneca, Luan.
So they climb in to investigate.
Cuidado.
Dá a câmera pra mim aqui, Júlio. Ai, pô. Nossa, tá boa. Irmão, a boneca tá aqui.
The doll of horror is inside, but after stepping away from the horror doll for a minute, this happens.
A boneca tá do mesmo jeito. Ai, ai! Cadê a boneca? Cadê a boneca, Pia?
O que foi?
Cadê a boneca? Cadê a boneca? Tava aqui agora!
Ué, ela tava ali, irmão, ó.
It disappears. Where did the doll go? Was it possessed by something? Or did some slick soul do this to her? I have a theory. I think the doll was being used as a voodoo doll. That still doesn't explain where it disappeared to. But have no fear, the horror doll always returns.
Luan. Júlio, ela é! Ai! Ai! Ela! Ai, 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 ai! Ai! Bati o cai! Nossa, mano!
Although you and I were probably not hoping for an encore for this one, this creepy selfie photobomb is making my skin crawl. Posted on TikTok by WINIRGTA, this woman is taking a selfie in the mirror when something freaky enters the picture. A small toddler-sized figure toddles past behind the woman, but does not reappear on the other side of her. The figure moves fast and looks to be a slightly grayish tinge. Is this just the woman's younger sibling making an unexpected cameo? Or does she have a supernatural elf on her hands? This live broadcast captures what appears to be an impossible error on camera. Watch the news anchor on the left and see what happens. Here it is again in slow motion in case you missed it. Everything from a hologram to an alien has been proposed, but I guess it could be some kind of camera malfunction. Maybe someone who knows more about cameras can let me know if this is a technical malfunction or not. A lot of children have had the misfortune of being singled out and picked on by their own personal bully, but there's one child in Spanish Town, Jamaica, who has had the worst luck of all. He says that they are being bullied by an evil spirit, and his parents and local town all believe him. Plus, there's video evidence for proof. His face has been blurred out to protect his dark secret. One video shows him sitting in a chair with his family. After being asked a few questions, the ghost decides to take control of the situation. Although he could have been pushing off the ground with his feet, you can't see the floor in this video, so it's hard to tell. One thing is for sure though, look closely and you can see the boy's hand right arm fly straight up in the air. It's definitely as if he's being grabbed by the wrist and jerked straight back. If he is faking it, then he is a very good actor. Okay, take a look at the second video and tell me what you think. He is just standing against a wall in his neighborhood when all of a sudden...
Matou a tua avó?
Yeah, water.
You can clearly see his whole body in this video as the left leg suddenly shoots up, almost as if someone is pulling him by the foot. Again, if this is fake, then he is a great actor with even better balance. It looks like he really is about to fall flat on his face until his mother rushes in to save him. If a ghost really happens to be crossing over into the material realm and grabbing a hold of his shoe here, no one knows exactly why. Still, the local bishop has no doubt that this relentless ghost bully is real. An older brother is trying to show his younger sibling that Bloody Mary is not real. Now the two of them are alone in the bathroom to test this theory out. They say her name 3 times in the dark, and when they turn the lights back on, they mistakenly think they are safe.
Open, move. See, it's all over. See, that's gonna happen.
After setting up a camera in her home, YouTuber Kathy Nito turns out the light, and what comes after just might be a ghost. Watch for the white thing once Kathy is distracted.
Sorry, little Ben.
Do you see that? Kathy believes this is a ghost. Well, I don't think it's a bug, as it appears to be too large and chaotic to be an insect. I'm not sure if my first thought would jump to the paranormal. It looks more like a spider web or some other flying debris to me. Still, whatever it is, it's creepy. Do you have any ideas as to what this could be? An urban exploration and paranormal investigation channel called SCPC Ghost makes a video about an abandoned house in Colton, California for no reason other than he thinks it looks interesting enough to record on camera. He videos the outside of the house from some different angles for a while and then decides it's time to explore the inside. The inside is well lit, and yet there is a mysterious moving shadow that may or may not be paranormal. The shadow goes away, and that's when he hears a soft, creepy noise.
Hello? Anybody here?
Nobody responds, and so he decides to fully investigate the abandoned house for evidence of the paranormal. In the kitchen, he records what could be a small pale ghost sighting in the window. In the back of the abandoned house, he finds what could be a secret room on the other side of this brick wall. There's an opening that's too small to climb through, but small enough to drop food into, like someone was held captive.
It's crazy. The toilet.
And the marks on this door shown at 2 minutes likewise look like someone tried to claw their way out. It's a small search, and he's about to leave when he realizes there's one final creepy dark room to explore for paranormal evidence. He does not get a single step inside before he finds out this abandoned house is not so abandoned after all.
I can't see nothing. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
A voice in the darkness scares him, and he does not look inside to see who it belongs to. Had he checked, he might have found the room was empty, and that the woman's voice was nothing more than an EVP caught on camera. Instead, he sidesteps into the other room and, in doing so, accidentally records a mysterious moving shadow figure on the way out.
Just taking some pictures of the property. I'll be out here in a second, alright? Scared me.
I don't know if this is a paranormal ghost encounter or a woman who is going through hard times and trying to hide. All I know is that a voice doesn't have to sound scary to be terrifying, at least not when it's coming from the darkest corners of this sad little abandoned home. While visiting Old Smoky Mountain Cemetery, YouTube crew the G-Team Paranormal are quickly met with paranormal activity. Straight away they get a reading on their paranormal device.
Right there. Wow. This is incredible.
And that reading becomes more distinct.
Look.
Yep. Oh, I see him.
You see him?
I see them. Almost looks like a third person.
The spirits seem to be congregating next to their headstones.
Someone's standing next to the headstone.
Right next to the headstone, yes.
Leaning on it or something.
Although the camera doesn't pick it up clearly, the ladies hear footsteps approaching.
She hears footsteps crunching. I hope it ain't a bear coming. Oh, I did.
Then, while in their vehicle, the car's reverse sensor is triggered, but there's no one behind them.
What?
What the hell?
I don't know. What is going on? It's sensing something behind us.
What the hell?
I don't know.
There's a mysterious whisper in the darkness here, though. And before they know it, they've picked up a hitchhiking spirit.
Made me want to come here. Oh, why did all my just fall? My up here on my visor just kind of flew down. What the hell?
Patty even seems to spot one on the road.
Whoa, I'm not even gonna back up. There was somebody standing back there in a white shirt. I'm not even kidding you. Unless I'm not gonna back up, guys. I can't.
I didn't see anything, but something strange is definitely going on here. Whether a spirit has attached or not is anyone's guess. What looks like a routine traffic stop suddenly becomes extraterrestrial within the blink of an eye. A police officer asks for a license and registration when things take an unexpected turn. The police officer looks normal up to this point, but then he makes a slight moan and hunches over. You can see all that is left is a smoldering pile of ashes. I can't tell if his clothes were disintegrated as he was beamed into a ship, or if he was simply disintegrated by an energy force field. This could be scripted, but the text in the bottom right and the police chatter both seem authentic, so maybe this video is real after all. If anyone understands police code and knows what they are saying in the background radio chatter, then please let me know. Maybe it can help us solve this strange video. A student is doing some schoolwork on his computer when somebody comes in and starts recording. They have a short conversation that's interrupted by a large figure standing in the darkened doorway behind them. The creature's head almost touches the ceiling, and its arms are so gigantic and long that they don't even fully fit in the camera frame. Its arms look long enough to pluck them from the couch and drag them to their doom. Fortunately for them, the two friends get away just in time and take off. They glance back for a moment only to find Slenderman silently regarding them from the top of the stairs. Now that you've seen this on video, I'm eager to hear if you think this was a real Slenderman sighting or just someone in a really good costume. This channel was uploading the exact same video for 4 entire years straight. Then after 4 whole years, it randomly uploaded this creepy video as of September 2018. As far as I can tell, there's no practical reason for anyone to be doing this. Almost all of the videos had received less than 4 years in just as many years. I have little doubt that the designer of these videos has some sort of malicious intent, because the entire video collection just feels off, especially the latest one. It could be loaded with hidden messages about doing who knows what. Also, I noticed this string of binary code in the description box. If any developers think they can crack it, then please let me know what it says, because I'm really eager to find out. This mystery will probably never be solved because all of the videos have been deleted, and if you go to the channel, it simply says this channel does not exist. A ghost in the basement of a construction site terrifies workers so much they try to avoid going down into the creepy place altogether. But one day, after all of their power tools mysteriously fail at the same time, a worker has gone exploring the haunted basement to reset the breakers. Like I said, the ghost terrifies the other workers too much to go down there with him. He does not feel safe, so to make himself feel better, he makes a video video. It sounds like a good idea, except what he's caught on that video now haunts him forever. Let's run that back. He passes 2 dark and seemingly empty rooms and a long, narrow passage. In the second room, there looks to be something scary in the basement. A ghostly gray figure appears to pull itself across the cold concrete floor. He hears shuffling from behind. He doesn't see the ghost and keeps exploring the catacomb-like maze for the circuit box, which is buried in one of these dark rooms. Something in the darkness startles him moments before a strange and mysterious light spills into the hall. When the scared construction reaches the room, he finds it is devoid of all light and the paranormal feeling is twice as strong. His reaction? Run out of the dark hallway like crazy and upload the creepy video on YouTube. He later says he was terrified to learn other workers had seen a similar flash of light after going down there and getting this strange and mysterious shape. This video from December 13th, 2019 is the only upload on his channel. No further updates on the creepy place. It looks like someone made a new account to anonymously share their scary basement video for us all to see and then probably quit on the spot by running for their lives. Dennis and Tim team up in this video on YouTube channel Nerve Paranormal, and they think this poltergeist is pushing them to do dangerous things. Upon entering the abandoned site, they find something out of place.
Что? Ты ее не ложил? Нет еще. Его тут не было? Не было. Блин, ты рукой показал, увидел я его и вообще.
As they explore, Dennis sees something pass by.
Летает у меня в глазах, когда я считаю вспышку. Сделал вспышку. Будто что-то белое такое.
Then as they enter, if that wasn't scary enough, this happens.
Надо уходить, блин.
I agree that it's time to leave, but will the evil poltergeist let them?
Не гуди, куда? Давай туда.
With nowhere to go, they tried to escape from the roof. But they decide against it.
Типа ты имеешь в виду подталкивать нас на это? Да. На охотный лестнице? Да. Слушай, а мы его тут не сможем просто? Не помню.
They re-enter the house and leave out the window instead. That was a close call, and I agree with Dennis that the poltergeist was trying to drive them out via a risky route. I'm glad they didn't listen though.
Blake Smith's Gaming Blitz has a haunted basement which I analyzed a while ago. Now the ghost has moved upstairs and other family members are starting to take notice. Some people claim to see a face peering between the blinds, but I think it's a reflection.
Do you see that? Please say you see that. See what? It move?
But forget about the window. Tell me what's going on with her backpack. It looks normal at 7 minutes and 3 seconds. Then she looks up, coughs, and suddenly it looks like a face. A face that only becomes clearer and rounder, more defined over the next 15 seconds.
Look at your bag. Do you see the face on your bag in the mirror? Do you see it? I had that on video, Nene! I caught it on video!
A final rustling noise somewhere in the room freaks them both out and makes me wonder if they really are being watched by a little ghost girl who's all too near.
A TikToker named Prince of Stitches is about to go to sleep when this late night visitor takes over his spot. Moments before he lies down, the floating white smear somewhat resembles the arm and shoulder of someone sleeping on their side, perhaps someone who once passed away in this very same spot, or it could just be how the light from this mounted lamp is hitting the camera. There's a somewhat similar looking effect happening next to the lamp, shown here. Light artifacts aside, that still doesn't explain how the covers pulsate likely like the shallow breathing of someone deep asleep. Either he put something under the sheets to make them do that, exactly what I don't know, or it's time to check out and find a non-haunted hotel that won't make you room with a ghost. It's 6 in the morning, and a YouTuber named Sheezy is about to go home after a long shift at the hospital. All he needs to do is return this 1-ton x-ray machine and then clock out. Unfortunately for him, the elevator gets stuck on the 5th floor and suddenly drops to the 1st floor without warning. It happens so fast that the floor numbers don't even register until the very end, but it's not over yet. The elevator rushes from the ground floor to the 5th floor, ready to drop again, and if that x-ray machine slides back and pins him against the wall, it wouldn't matter if he's at a hospital or not, because it's going to flatten him in seconds. This time, he hits the emergency stop before he can drop again. After a minute and a half, engineers rush to get him out of there. A YouTuber named Jackwagon has many videos demonstrating his apparent ability to manipulate objects using nothing but his own energy force. Here, he circles his hands over a lock while concentrating deeply. It isn't long before he gets results. Not only is Jack able to push the lock over without touching, he is also somehow able to keep it balanced at a weird angle for almost 10 full seconds before falling. The only explanation I have for this is if there was some kind of magnet underneath the table, which I guess is possible. Next, Jack takes a steel fork in both hands and envisions the utensil becoming soft like butter. He ties the fork in a knot with his bare hands in a few simple twists. I'm honestly not sure how hard this really is to do, but it sure looks difficult to me. I'd really like for someone to tell me if this is a real display of energy manipulation or just some kind of trick. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.